It all started with one forgotten photo, a grainy snapshot buried deep in Northwestern University's archives. Meghan Markle, smiling innocently among classmates. But when investigative author Tom Bower zoomed in, the timeline shattered. Those classmates, now in their mid-50s. Their graduation years, their records, their LinkedIn profiles, all screaming one thing: the math doesn't fit. Could Meghan Markle really be several years older than the palace, Hollywood, and even her own biography claim? If that photo is real, and it is, then we may be staring at one of the biggest image rewrites in modern celebrity history. This isn't just about age, it's about control, power, and how far someone will go to rewrite their past. Stay to the end, because the last clue changes everything. Hit like, share and subscribe for such hidden truths. It started like any other campus memory, a faded salsa club photo from Northwestern University, taken somewhere around the early 2000s. Meghan Markle stands at the back, smiling effortlessly, surrounded by classmates lost in laughter. For years, it sat buried in an alumni archive, unnoticed, unremarkable, until investigative journalist Tom Bower took a closer look. That's when a harmless snapshot began to unravel something far stranger. The people in that photo, her supposed peers, weren't her age group at all. Their online records, LinkedIn pages, and alumni listings placed most of them in their early to mid-50s today. That means back then, they were already well into their 20s or early 30s. But Meghan, according to every royal biography, was supposedly in her early 20s at that time. The numbers didn't match. Bower realized this wasn't just a coincidence, it was a clue. How could a young college student consistently appear among classmates nearly a decade older? One anomaly might be chance, but when everyone in the frame tells the same age story, the timeline starts to bend. That's when the question took root: had Meghan's real age been hidden all along? And if so, how deep did this rewrite go? The answers, as it turned out, wouldn't come from gossip or tabloids. They would come from her own documented history, the very timeline the world thought it already knew. When Tom Bower began cross-referencing that photo with public records, the cracks widened. Meghan Markle's official documents, her birth certificate, royal biographies, and press profiles, all point to one date, August 4, 1981. That would make her 44 today. But the classmates seen beside her, most were born between 1970 and 1973, meaning they're now in their early to mid-50s. The gap wasn't just 1 or 2 years. It was nearly a decade. At first glance, it could seem harmless: maybe she joined a club with older students, maybe returning alumni. But alumni data told another story. Those individuals weren't transfer students or mature enrollees. They were traditional undergraduates, people who went straight from high school to college. Which means Meghan would have to have been roughly their age to share those same courses and clubs. That's when alternative birth years began to surface: 1977, 1976, even 1975. Versions quietly passed around by early acquaintances, background researchers, and even old friends. Each date shifted her narrative slightly, but together they formed a shadow timeline that suddenly made the math make sense. If Meghan was truly born earlier, her college years, her early acting start, even her royal timeline would align more neatly. The question now wasn't whether her story had inconsistencies, it was when the edit happened. Because somewhere between those two timelines, the official and the hidden, one version had to be rewritten. To understand where the story begins to fracture, we have to follow the official timeline, the one carefully printed across royal biographies. Meghan supposedly graduated from Immaculate Heart High School in 1999, then attended Northwestern University, finishing in 2003. A neat, straightforward progression, the kind every parent hopes to see on a resume. But when researchers compared those details to the education records of her so-called classmates, something strange appeared. Several of those same Northwestern students listed their own high school graduations as far back as 1988 or 1989, a full decade before Meghan's. Yet, somehow, they were all photographed together, appearing as contemporaries in the same clubs, same classrooms, same university setting. For a single overlap, maybe that could be explained away. But when nearly every person in that group falls into the same older range, it becomes statistically improbable. This wasn't a case of adult learners mixing with younger students. University archives confirmed these were standard undergrads, part of the same 4-year academic stream. So how did Meghan end up among them, consistently and repeatedly, if she was supposedly years younger? The inconsistencies pile up like mystery pieces that no longer fit. And every attempt to align them leads to one uncomfortable conclusion: somewhere, the timeline has been trimmed, sanded down, and quietly rewritten. What began as a harmless photograph was now pointing toward something much larger, a missing chapter. When investigators dug deeper, they stumbled upon a quiet void in Meghan Markle's early life, a period that seemed to vanish completely. Between her supposed 1999 high school graduation and her 2003 Northwestern finish, there exists a strange fog of missing detail. Few verified photos, no classmates speaking on record, and almost no traceable proof of what she was truly doing during those pivotal years. For most people, that phase is packed with memories, campus life, dorm photos, first jobs, college events. Yet Meghan's public footprint from that era feels eerily blank. It's as if 4 years of her life were folded out of existence, replaced by a clean narrative ready for later fame. That silence isn't just unusual, it's curated. Some whisper that this missing window may hold the key to her real age, a time when the public record might have quietly shifted. Because if her birth year was indeed earlier, those years wouldn't be a gap at all. They'd simply fit. But if the record was altered, that missing time would need to disappear entirely to keep the illusion intact. Every document that skips a date, every photo that vanishes from archives, deepens the mystery. Was she truly the young grad of 2003? Or was that version of her life carefully reconstructed years later? One thing is clear: this wasn't an accident of memory. It was a deliberate silence. And silence, in stories like this, always speaks loudest. The deeper the researchers looked, the more unsettling the evidence became. Because it wasn't just Meghan's early years that showed signs of quiet editing, it was the official records filed after she entered the royal world. The most striking example appeared in 2019, after the birth of her son, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. His royal birth certificate was publicly archived, as required by protocol. On it, the mother's name read clearly: Rachel Meghan, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. But then something odd happened. Weeks later, the certificate was reissued. This time, her first and middle names were gone. All that remained was a title: Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. No royal mother in modern history had ever altered her child's birth document like this. The palace brushed it off as a bureaucratic adjustment. Insiders called it unprecedented. While this change doesn't directly prove anything about Meghan's real age, it does prove something crucial: official records can be modified quietly, even inside the royal system. That revelation cracked open a new question: if a royal document could be rewritten in plain sight, what about records from before the palace ever got involved? For the first time, what once seemed like speculation began to feel possible. Meghan's timeline wasn't just inconsistent, it was pliable. And when history itself can be revised, truth becomes a matter of who holds the pen. Every public figure has childhood photos floating online, but Meghan Markle's past doesn't just appear, it's released. Each time her story comes under scrutiny, a perfectly timed image resurfaces: a smiling high school yearbook photo here, a teenage portrait there. The pattern is unmistakable. Whenever questions about her age, background, or timeline begin trending, a new photo conveniently floods the media, reaffirming the official version of her youth. Investigators noticed this rhythm repeating again and again. When her royal biography faced criticism, new school pictures appeared. When her past relationships made headlines, another nostalgic image was rediscovered. Most recently, when Tom Bower's findings reignited the age debate, a wave of 1999 photos suddenly flooded entertainment outlets, as if waiting on standby for release. Some of these images come from alumni databases, others from former classmates who had remained silent for decades. On the surface, they seem like harmless nostalgia. But beneath that, a pattern emerges: a story being managed, not remembered. It suggests that Meghan's image, from her earliest school days to her royal years, is part of a larger system, one designed to reinforce whatever version of her story the public is meant to believe. Each time a crack forms, another old photo smooths it over. At this stage, the mystery stops being about arithmetic. It becomes about control. Because in a world where history can be curated, the question isn't what's true, it's who's in charge of the narrative. To understand why anyone might alter a timeline, you have to step into the glittering, ruthless world of Hollywood, a place where age isn't just a number, it's a marketing tool. In an industry that worships youth, the difference between 25 and 30 can decide who lands the lead role and who fades into the background. Agents know it. Casting directors live by it. And for women especially, the pressure is relentless. In Meghan's early years as an actress, before royal fame, she faced the same industry reality, one that rewards the illusion of youth. Trimming a few years off an age isn't scandal, it's survival. Countless actors have done it, but few have had to keep it up once fame magnified every detail. For someone like Meghan, whose career depended on breaking into major roles later than most, a younger public age could have been her passport into opportunity. Then, when Hollywood blurred into royalty, that age narrative couldn't simply remain a fib, it became an institution. Once, 1981 appeared in press profiles, biographies, and palace documents, it was locked. The machinery of fame had turned a strategic tweak into official history. In Hollywood, image is crafted. In royalty, it's law. And when the two collide, the truth doesn't just bend, it gets professionally redesigned. Which raises a chilling question: was this about vanity, or about survival in a world where perception rules everything? Behind the scenes, the palace press offices and media handlers worked with the same precision as Hollywood's PR teams, but with centuries of tradition backing them. The narrative wasn't just maintained, it was fortified. Any hint of a discrepancy, any re-emerging rumor about her past, was swiftly countered with polished images and royal-approved language. The message was clear: the version you've been told is the only version that exists. Within this machine, truth becomes ceremonial, repeated until it feels like fact. And when a story reaches that level of control, even the smallest alteration can no longer be exposed, it simply gets rewritten into history itself. This isn't just a mystery about numbers. It's about power: who has it, who shapes it, and who controls what the world remembers. Every time a photo resurfaces or a record is adjusted, it sends a message: history can be rewritten, as long as you control the narrative. Tom Bower's discovery didn't just expose an age debate, it revealed the blueprint of image control itself, a system where fame, perception, and truth collide until only one version survives. And maybe that's the real revelation here. Not how old Meghan Markle truly is, but how expertly she's mastered the art of making people believe whatever version of her story they're allowed to see. Because in an age where every story is curated, the question isn't what's true anymore, it's who gets to decide.